Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm working on Red Sea Rule number 4, which is all about prayer as I read through the book The Red Sea Rules by Robert J. Morgan. This is part of a mini kit that ByTheWell4God has put out for January 2023. And I've really enjoyed this book. It's all about turning fear into faith, and when we're stuck in difficult situations, how we can turn to Christ. And there's a really good passage that I liked in this chapter, and it has a quote from Thomas Watson that I'll be adding. But specifically, it goes over the prayer of faith, like a prayer that has faith backed up behind it. Not one that is one of worry or concern, but one that is backed up in prayer. And so we see in James 5:15, it says, "And the prayer of faith will save the one who is sick." Also in verse 16, it says, "The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working." And so that's what we're focusing on today. I have taken one of the backdrop pages from Tim Holtz, and it almost perfectly fits in an interleave Bible. There is just a little bit of side on, on the inner corners that's not seen or not covered. However, I find that okay because then the page turns really easily, and I can work on this whole page out of my Bible because this is my background. So I just scaled it down. It was a little bit too long or tall for the page. So I just cut it down a little bit, and then I rounded the corners so it would look the same as my rounded corners on my Bible. I did add some of the translucent texture paste that does start out white. And then I just add some walnut stain embossing and glaze on top, and it made some like chunky kind of clear looking goodness. Basically, you know me, I like texture, so it's the perfect texture for me. I really liked working with that translucent texture paste. It was actually the first time I've used it. Usually I would just use the opaque one, but this was fun as well, especially since the embossing glaze is clear as well. I had this book plate stamp. This came alongside with the mini kit and the book and everything. And so I am just stamping out prayer inside this book plate, and I have embossed it as well with the walnut stain embossing glaze. I will heat set that and then cut it out. I do add a little bit of crayon to it to kind of fill in some of it because it is kind of grungy, and so there's some color coming through, which I'm actually okay with. I just wanted to kind of grunge it up just a little bit more since my whole kind of look of this page looks old and antiqued, so this will help make that kind of fit in and not look too clean. If you see my little German flashcard up there, I did go antiquing a number of months ago and found this whole a box full of German vocab words, which was absolutely so cool because I noticed yesterday when I was looking at it that it has a little booklet with it, and you can look up the word and find out what number it is, so I don't have to go through the whole 1,000 words to find what I'm trying to find. So this was the perfect little addition because Thomas Watson, who was a Puritan writer, had an amazing quote in this chapter, and he says, "Faith is to prayer what the feather is to the arrow. It feathers the arrow of prayer and makes it fly swifter and pierce the throne of grace." And so that is why you see me have that little feather German vocab card, and also the feather piece of ephemera that I found in my Tim Holtz ephemera booklet that I made. So you'll see me use all that. I did stamp my prayer little book plate on one of those flashcards from ByTheWell4God that I knew what I wasn't going to use. And then I typed out that Thomas Watson quote on a 49 in market ephemera piece that I had, and it was perfect as a layering piece. And now we're just going to kind of grunge everything up. Now, as you can see throughout this, I do like to use my fingernail to kind of roughen up the edges. That way it doesn't lay perfectly flat on the page. I like it to have some not movement, but I just don't like everything laying flat. It just doesn't do it for me. So by roughing up the edges and distressing them with some Distress Oxide, it really helps me love this page even more so. And if you didn't see before, I did add some fasteners to that book plate as well. I really like adding metal pieces and different elements and textures to the page, and so that helps do that. Now, I do have to say, I do end up coming back. I wish I didn't glue down everything so fast, but I do end up adding a little paper clip to that German card. So I have 2 or 3 pieces of metal, but 2 fasteners on the book plate and 1 on that flash card. I also have 2 pieces that are propped up with foam tape. As you see here, I did the feather propped up with foam tape and also the prayer book plate. That adds some dimension to my page, and especially since there's so many layers, it really helps it out. If you're ever worried about working directly in your Bible, this is a really good way to go. I would pick up any one of Tim Holtz's backdrops, and they all have some beautiful backgrounds that you can use. I think he has 3 backdrops, and then he also has the Halloween one, which I do have, and it's not too Halloweeny. It's just darker colors, I feel like. And then he has Christmas one too. But anyways, I have the 4 out constantly, and I can just pick through them. And it is honestly so good of a size for an interleave Bible. So try it out sometime because it's really fun. I also want to add some lace and some of the mummy cloth. So I'm going to layer those up together. They are the same color, which I actually love because it makes the lace just look a little bit more distressed when you add the mummy cloth on top. Now, if you notice here, I did lay this wrong, or not wrong, it was fine in the end. But initially I was going to have this the other way, flipped around with the bigger splotches of the embossing glaze on the bottom left-hand side, but I didn't put my lace on correctly. I was being a little too fast and flustered. So it is what it is, but it all turns out fine. So now that those are both laid down, I'm going to glue down my big cluster, and then I will glue this whole thing down to my interleave Bible, and it will be complete. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I'll leave all my affiliate links down below so you can see what exactly I used throughout this page. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.